Hey everyone, this is Scott from Forgot to Grow Up. Welcome to our latest ReWatch ReVisit review, our video series where I rewatch a movie I haven't seen in a while, talk about my thoughts after having revisited it, and then give you the audience and critics reviews for that movie. So this week I'm going to be talking about Charlie's Angels from 2000. This movie is this series has just been rebooted recently, and I thought it would be a good opportunity to revisit the 2000 movie starring Drew Barrymore, Carmen Diaz, and Lucy Liu, as well as Bill Murray. Can't forget Bosley. And so yeah, it was just a fun idea to come revisit this one because we were getting a new one which I had just seen this weekend in theaters, and so it was just a fun thing to go revisit this one. I haven't seen this since I was at least 10 years since I had seen this movie, so it's kind of a good reason to check this out. It is just as a quick little plot summary for those of you who may not be familiar with Charlie's Angels. This 2000 movie was a reboot of the 70s show about a trio of lady detectives who work for this mysterious millionaire named Charlie, and they go solving different things using disguises and martial arts and just being all badasses. So this reboot was fun. I didn't have the tie at the time. I didn't have the tie to the original show. I still don't. I've never seen the original show, so this was my introduction to Charlie's Angels. When I was younger, I would have been 7 when this movie came out. I probably didn't see it till I was slightly older, but that being said, this was my introduction, I should say, to the Charlie's Angels thing. So as an introduction when I was younger, it was kind of fun. It came out at a time when I was impressionable enough that this kind of goofy kind of comic take on action, kind of action comedy, but not quite, leaning more on the action side, but still having some comic beats, not taking themselves too seriously. That's what this movie kind of is the best way to kind of describe it. And so yeah, it was kind of just fun to revisit this and kind of think about how what had drawn me to it when I was younger and why it is that I haven't rewatched it in at least 10 years. And after having rewatched it, I can definitely see why it's been a little bit. This is not a bad movie. It's not a great movie, but it's not, I think it's just all right. It's a fun little action premise. Like I said, fun is the best way I think to describe this. Yes, it has some outdated things and elements in it, but what movies or things that have comedic elements in it don't have that? So I felt that yes, there's some outdated things, but overall it's just kind of a fun movie to revisit, to have these 3 actresses with Lucy Liu, Drew Barrymore, and Carmen Diaz. They just have a fun kind of dynamic together and vibe. It just seems like they're having fun. This is something I actually described about the newest Charlie's Angels, which is they're having fun during this, like the filming of this, and that's just what these movies kind of give off, is this kind of fun vibe of this fun action thing, not taking themselves too seriously, but how to still have a good time. And so that's what I liked about this. This movie has a bunch of different dance scenes in it, for God's sakes. The villain dances, for gosh sakes, played by Sam Rockwell, which was another fun little. This cast was really great actually for this 2000s Charlie's Angels. So it was kind of just really interesting to kind of think about all the elements that went into this movie and just kind of revisiting it now that it's been almost 20 years since this movie came out. So it's really interesting to see all the different things after having revisited and rewatched it, thinking about like this is very much a product of the early 2000s. It came out in 2000, and you can just see all these things, the influence from the Matrix in their style of action with all the like freeze and slow-mos and jumping across entire rooms, which is just like, that's the things I would say are laughable, as just like oh wow, I'm so glad we've come further than this in certain forms of action. But it's still the kind of fun to go revisit these fun takes, where it's, you see women jump across an entire room kicking the whole time at somebody. It's just fun to kind of revisit that and see, and it's not by any means like great action, but it's just kind of fun and comical. So I really like that. And again, it's not taking itself too seriously. This movie kind of knows, giving you that wink and a nod that it's just trying to have fun with this premise and this idea, which is kind of my favorite things to revisit. So this revisit, for the most part, for me, wasn't that bad. I won't be revisiting it anytime soon because it is pretty like, once you get through it, you're like, okay, yeah, I had the bit of fun, but we'll put that away and revisit this some other time again in the future. But yeah, overall, it was just kind of just like an all right kind of revisit. It was just kind of fun to kind of it was for me more than anything, as always with these revisits, kind of more fun to think about what attracted me to it when I was younger and why it's been so long since I had watched it. So those are some fun thoughts. But yeah, so on to the last part of my ReWatch ReVisit review, which is the review part where I talk about the audience and critic reviews for this movie, which surprised me a little when I looked up. So I just used the tomato meter as an indication to see what critics thought of this and what audiences thought of this. And this one felt to me like it would be one that audiences would like more, goofy action film. That tends to lean a lot more towards an audience rating than a critic rating. But going from the tomato meter score, we see the critics give it a 68% on the tomato meter, and audiences only gave it a 45%, which I definitely would have thought it would have been the opposite. I thought critics would have hated this movie and audiences would have loved it. But apparently it's the opposite, which is an interesting thing. Like I said, I didn't expect that. Me personally, I'm kind of right in between the critics and the audience, where I'm like, yes, I can see some of the merits of it, this being fun and stuff, but it's also like, it's not any kind of specialist or anything like groundbreaking in that sense. So yeah, I would definitely be right down the middle myself. But yeah, so the last thing is just my favorite part of this one was definitely Bill Murray, and just seeing him as Bosley, him just having fun with just being on screen doing whatever he wants, and then just the random gags or the dressing up as different like random things to go under disguise when they break into the building and they're dressed up as just a couple dudes, and then when they dress up as race car crew members and all the different things. Again, some of these things they dress up as is a little bit more problematic these days, but it was still just kind of fun. It's still just fun little things because you can see, like, I can just imagine these actors being on set just having a great time, just being able to jump into all these different roles while they're still playing this one character in this thing. So that was just kind of fun. But yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts on my ReWatch ReVisit review of Charlie's Angels 2000. Be sure to let me know in the comments below when was the last time you watched Charlie's Angels 2000 and what your thoughts on the movie are. Thanks again for joining me today. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and have a good one.